Hello everyone, Deadeye here, and this video is 10 changes slash additions to Planetside 2 I would like to see. I came up with this list over the last couple of weeks. I don't know if anyone else has ever said any of these things. Probably have. This game's been around for 9 years. A lot of people have played it. And this is not like in any order, really. This is just 10 of the best ideas I've come up recently that I'd like to see added or changed in Planetside 2. There's a lot more, but we won't get into over everything. By the way, this does not include like map changes, balance changes, quality of life stuff, netcode changes, game engine, features, anything like that. This is just changes or additions or like system changes for the game itself, okay? So let's start off with what I think might be the best one. I don't know if anyone's ever said this before, but it hit me while I was driving the other day. Real quick, do you hate getting ran over by a flash while you're at your Sunderer trying to get rearmed for the fight or something, right? Or figure out your class or whatnot, right? Annoying as heck. Not much you can do, usually by the time you see it, it's too late, right? So, it hit me. Bam. Darklight running lights or slash headlights, right? For the Sunderer. Or maybe just large vehicles in general, but specifically for the Sunderer. I don't know what slot you would put it in. A lot of these ideas, I don't know exactly how you would slot them in. Daybreak likes to balance things against other things, and I think sometimes you should just add things. Would like to emphasize that. Okay? Make it a cost of certs, of course, is fine. But don't also make it a cost and a choice. This should just be 1,000 cert thing, or maybe less, whatever they feel is reasonable. But yeah, dark light running lights for the Sunderer that shoot outwards in every direction. Maybe make it so you can't have stealth at the same time, but don't replace that slot, because that slot is really usable. You can't have stealth and that at the same time. Make it I don't know if it's the default button, it's the L button for headlights. Make that just the button that controls it, and while it's on, you can't stealth. Right? But make them shoot kind of outwards a ways. That's the thing that I think probably wouldn't happen. They'd want to keep it really close, and it would be still useless. You have to have it shoot out a ways, alright? To be effective. Okay, number 2, more system, something for the medic. Medic's pretty unchanged since release. As a person who plays medic a lot, I would like something else to do. While you're in a big fight as a medic, you're usually really occupied, and I can understand that. It makes it difficult to add something there, because another small mechanic there would probably just jumble up the system already and just make medics less useful. So you probably want something in a slower setting, and I can't really think of much in that case, except for 2 things. And I stole both of these ideas from somewhere else. I was thinking like an Uber from Team Fortress 2. Imagine as a medic, you could Uber someone or a small group of people. But yeah, make them, have really fast regenerative health. Maybe instead of damage, because you could understand damage being a problem. But another idea would be to boost the person inside the max. Now, that would not mean the max, the max would then just be an armor. So after a max dies, a fully normal human player pops out, no reviving necessarily, and then they can go to a fight. Maybe have them only equipped with a sidearm or something to balance out having 2 lives, basically. The other idea for medic I stole is stimpacking people before a fight. Give them a little boost in running speed, 10%, 15% or something like that. Maybe, faster trigger pull is a little weird for that, but yeah, that I just stole that from StarCraft. Okay, so that was for medics. That was 2 ideas. You get to 2 for 1 on that one. Okay, so number 3, I think I've mentioned somewhere else. Openable doors slash windows. Make it a time cost. Just like, overloading a generator or something. Make it even kind of long, even. Um, make a little blip on the map when someone's doing it so that people know, like hacking a terminal. But I think that could make some interesting dynamic fights. You'd have to let maybe a cooldown or something. I don't know exactly how you'd let people fight over that. I know I'm not the first person to say it, and I've said it in another video, but since buildings have points in them, you could make it determined by who owns that point, as if the defenders are closing doors to attackers, or attackers are opening doors once they've succeeded in capturing a point. There's also certain bases where their windows or doors aren't really accessible. You'd have to, of course, double check those. Okay, so number 4, I believe, is also something I mentioned before, but it is something more for the base turrets. And I have generally 2 ways of going about it. Base turrets that you go up to, and it basically pops up a like vehicle menu, but it's the different kinds of base turrets. So you get your, AA, your anti-infantry, or your anti-vehicle choices. Or instead, maybe like the drop pod for the player just picks whichever kind of turret they would like as their for when they enter a base turret. So the base turrets on the actual map bases would just be like the little centerpiece. It would have no turret, no guns on it, and you would set it in a menu like the drop pod, and when you go up, you click it, it just the kind of turrets you like just pop out. Now this would probably have to require a pass on viewing angles and stuff, because a lot of bases have bad viewing angles. I think that could be useful, and you could also create certs for players for that. Another thing to spend money on, making using base turrets more effective. I don't think they really want to support base turrets, though. I think they're fine. Along with the same idea, you get a free second bonus one. It's automating, if we're not going to have custom base turrets anyways, automating base turrets as a war asset to target enemies. And that, of course, creates the interesting idea of a infiltrator hacking a base turret that then targets the owners of that base. That could be an interesting thing, or you could just cancel that out and say once it's hacked, it's no longer automated because the war asset isn't applied to that. I just said war asset, it just seemed like the natural choice. Could also be an engineer thing, I guess. An engineer goes up to a turret, right clicks on it for, however long a full meter is, and now it's an automated base turret. Okay, so number 4, number 5. Of course, this is something other people have said, and it's a vehicle 4 or a vehicle mode 4 maxes. I know kind of philosophy is getting everyone to work together and move around the base to fights and whatnot. In absence of people working together, I think the most important thing should be getting people to fights, and I think they understand that. I don't know why we would skip maxes. Is it just like a balancing thing? Like they wouldn't know how big the thing is. If it's a small vehicle, like it's a vehicle mode, like they just sprout tank treads, right? Then that's a whole nother balance and complication. Or if it's a large vehicle, then you got to make a large vehicle, and you have to figure out how you'd want it to operate. I think just like a big flash for 2 maxes could be interesting. Or you make like a big wide platform. You could put 4 maxes on it, and then it's very wide, so it can't really get anywhere. So you don't have to worry about how they would infiltrate bases on these things, but they would just get to bases and into fights. So that's that. 6 is again something people have talked about, and that's the thing I've talked about pretty much since the game has been new. Vehicle rearming. It's something I'm not exactly sure how it would work with the game code the way it is, but let's say you're flying around in an air-to-ground ESF, and you want to switch air-to-air, you just plop it on the pad, and you go to the vehicle terminal and, rearm it. Now, that might not fit in the code to do, because it has to detect who owns which vehicle at any time. Okay, fine. How about instead, then, bringing a vehicle to the pad, and spawning a new one gives you a nanite discount on a new one? Of course, you don't have to do it with ESFs. Bring a Sunder to a garage, change out, the bulldogs for, the walkers or something like that. or change out, you know, the stealth for blockade armor for some reason. Okay, so 7, I think, and that's basically the ping system from Apex. Of course, don't, you know, not for everyone in a platoon or everyone on the ground or anything like that, but maybe everyone in a fire team, or only let fire team leaders be able to leave pings for their squad. Of course, you can do that on the map, and fine, great. But it's finicky in a action scenario. So do the kind of pinging where it's instantaneous for your squad or your fire team. Limiting it to the fire team would probably be too limiting, but just allowing people to be like, hey, instead of having to go through all the communicative work of, hey, I saw a sunder behind this rock, it's an enemy rock, or it's an enemy sunder behind this rock, you know, just bang, sunder. Along with the pinging system for number 8, I would like additional context wheel usage. For me personally, one of the most annoying things is when you're capturing a base, especially when it's like a stomp, and you want to use the vehicle terminal, and it's the other teams, and instead of hacking it, everyone shoots it to death, and you can't spawn a vehicle, and it could be really useful to spawn a vehicle there. So, the ability to hover over, say, a vehicle terminal, open up the context wheel menu, and say, hey, will someone please hack this? Now, the problem is probably having to get all those voice lines done. You know, hey, some work to do. I don't know how to, I can't really shortcut that, except doing a generic robot voice for every one of these new ones. But yeah, something like that, and then you could attach that to the pinging system and be like, hey, defend here. Maybe make the context wheel menu how you do the pinging, and then just be like, hey, stand here, or hey, snipers out there, you know, or watch out, grenades, or get ready to rush / push, things like that. Number 9, I think we're at. Recently there was a jump pad deployable thing. Make that permanent. But the thing I've also always said is create a ramp / ladder deployable. One or the other, or both. We use, and if you're an engineer, sometimes you'll use your turret as a stepping stone to get over a wall or something. Just let's make that a thing. Since players are doing the thing, let's just make it a thing. I appreciate the jank way of doing it. It's fun. Like using a tank's turret to get over a wall. Instead, how about a ramp? Or just a ladder. And it's not attached to the construction system, it's a deployable, so it's more useful. You make them, you know, one man usable at a time. A ladder probably would imply, you know, climbing mechanics, which don't exist. That's why I usually say ramp. Jump pad's great. Leave the jump pad too. Make Maxes be able to use the jump pad. Maxes can use the jump pads from Biolab, so then why can't you use the little portable jump pad as a max? I don't know. They should do that though. Make it permanent, or give me a ramp. Maybe they don't want ramps because of vehicles. Make a ladder system then, or a grapple hook. Everyone loves a grapple hook. Grapple hook's real popular nowadays. Alright, and number 10, the last one. This is one I have thought about a lot, and I'm trying to solve this problem pretty much since I started playing this game. And the best idea I've come up with is, you know, when you are defending a base and you're getting stomped and it's, you know, 60-40 pop and you can't get out of the spawn room, and it's just frustrating because you can't fight back. If you can sit in the base, try and get sniper headshots, you know, work on your sniper directive, but it's not fun. And it's not fun for both sides, I personally feel. But the kill field isn't enough. So I think that same field, maybe make it a little larger personally, but that same field, that is the kill field, also applies a damage reduction for the owners of that square, the owners of that base. It doesn't have to be a lot, because there's a lot of fights that are real close, a lot of engagements between individuals that are real close. And something like a 10% damage debuff, and it's all types of damage. Don't need to do none of that. Just a pure damage debuff, 10%, 20%, somewhere in that range. Probably enough to make 60-40 fights actually overturnable without just huge amounts of pop. Sometimes, anyways. It depends, of course, on the base design. I think that could be an interesting change, and I do believe I've heard people say that one as well before. The other thing would be more opaque windows, so that people don't actually can spot you leaving spawn room. Don't get rid of the damage field, just add this other field on top of it. And generally, make it larger. I think it does need to be larger. And the other thing to help fighting out spawns is the ability, instead of a teleporter, the ability just to spawn into whichever spawn room, because every base has 2 spawn rooms. Whichever base spawn into any base, either spawn room from the map. So that's my 10 ideas. I think all of them would be great changes and better for the game. I have spent some time thinking about all of these. If you like any of them, hey, do please leave a comment. I read them, try to respond to them if I feel like I have anything else to say. If you like this video, do please subscribe. I do daily uploads on this channel. New video every day, 3 p.m. Eastern time. I have a couple other recent Planetside 2 videos. Go check them out. Talking about Osher and stuff like that. I really like this game. I would like some more stuff to it, though. I have other ideas, but those were, I think, my 10 best or so that I've come up with recently. Yeah. I don't know, that's about it. I do other kinds of content most of the time. Planetside has been doing well for me, but I don't have a lot to talk about at this time. But waiting for that Osher to come out. I'll talk a whole lot about that when it's here. Alright, anyways, that's going to be it for me, folks. I do hope you all enjoyed, and I do hope to see you all soon, alright? So do please subscribe, leave a comment, like, share, all that stuff, alright? Alright, I don't know how to do outros. Alright, bye.